Hey, what's going on? Kingdom Comics live. Look at that. Look at that mess out there. It's awesome, though. I thought I would do a podcast with the window. You can't really see. It's so misty. I guess you can see the snow. Yeah, you can see it a little bit coming down. You think you're Comicsgate, but you're not. I'm Comicsgate. I want to talk a little more about how okay, if your channel has hundreds of thousands of subs, like if you got 100,000 subs or 63,000 subs, you say you're Comicsgate, I say no, you're not Comicsgate. If you were a real Comicsgate, you would be censored like I am. My likes, like someone will comment and then like I can't even explain it. Like it'll say zero views, but and then I'll go and then it'll be like more views than they're showing. Like just my channel is definitely being messed with, and I'm also ignored by the bigger so-called comic skaters. If you're a YouTube channel and you have so many thousands of subs, then you think you're and you say you're conservative, like you got thousands of subs. You are go on these shows that they're like, oh, I'm a conservative, and the left says I'm so they're they call us Nazis and this and that, and it's like, but we're not Nazis. We love gay people. We love we're I don't I don't hate gay people. I don't hate this. It's not about hate. It's about tolerance. You're tolerant. You're if you say you're a conservative, but then I go on your show and you got like okay, there's one guy, I'm not going to say any names because I'm sick of calling people out because I'm pretty sure they'll blackball me. But these bigger comic skaters, I go on their shows and then and they say they're conservative, but then they have like people that have degenerate lifestyles on their show. And they're not doing none of the material that they do is politically incorrect. It's all about how tolerant they are, which is what the left one thing. Now, some of these people that these bigger comic skaters have on their shows, and they help them. Like, there's one guy in particular. He gets about as close to showing. Like, he'll show pics. He'll do screen shares on this comic skater show of like he'll get as close to like sexual and degenerate stuff as he can without actually showing real nudity and everything. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's not okay. How do I explain this? If you're a real comic skater, okay. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. These same people that I probably would have hung around with them back when I thought I was conservative, but I wasn't. I was being super tolerant of degeneracy, like the left wants me to be. So and I'm not trying to make this a personal issue between show you the real world. And the real world is if you are really politically incorrect, like I am, your channel's going to be censored and nobody's going to want anything to do with you. And you're going to be like me. You're going to have under 100 subs. And that's the end of that. And people are going to be like, man, he's angry and has a bad attitude because you're really actually conservative and you actually are not tolerant of degeneracy. And okay, like my storyline for my comic book is about as politically incorrect as you can get because the main characters are Christians. And it's all and the subject matter is of my comic book is unlike any other comic book out there. And I mean it gets into flat earth even. I don't say verbatim that the earth is flat, but the characters talk about how I get into the storyline how they tried to find out. Hang on, let me go get some. Okay, so here's my main character. And here's their ship, the Ark. Now, after they get the technology to build the Ark, and I've gone into all of that, you'll have to check out my last videos. They start exploring around, and I'm not going to get into detail about it because you have to read the comic. But what they find out is that we've been absolutely lied to about everything, and they're not positive the world is flat, but they know it's not round either because they can't. It's hard for me to explain because they can't do what they need to do to prove it to themselves for reasons that I'm not going to state. You have to find out. You have to read the comic. So I get into like there. So they talk that we've been lied to about everything. They're Christians. I get into the tribulation. Okay, no other. All these other Christians are not doing comic books that are Christian or based in Christian. They're basically all the same type of degenerate. Like it's all like I said. Go look through all the Comicsgate comic books. You'll find. And I'm not trying. Like I'm going to start talking about this probably on Jimmy Reyes' show on Page One Comics because he's the only one that'll give anybody a platform. It's open mic. You can, as long as you're not on there, flashing DICK pics or something, you know what I mean, or being vulgar, hateful and vulgar. But I'm going to start talking about how pretty much as far as I can tell, my comic book is the only real Comicsgate comic book out there. So you think you're Comicsgate, but you're not. And if you have a huge channel and you say you're conservative, you're either a shill or you're a fake conservative that thinks you're conservative, but you're like, the left calls me a Nazi, but I'm not a Nazi. I love everybody, and I'm not saying not love, or in other words, or I tolerate everything. I can't say what lifestyles because you know what lifestyles the left. I almost said it. You know what lifestyles the left pushes on the conservatives and says if you don't like this, you're a Nazi, or if you don't, if you don't make black people infallible and perfect in your comic book, then you're a Nazi, or if you don't have, or if you portray women in any bad light, you're a Nazi, you hate women and others. So what I'm saying is basically all the conservatives talk about is how tolerant they are, and then if you and don't believe me, just go look at most of the new comic books coming out. It's all strong. It's all empowered women. It's all empowered women. There's one title coming out. Like if I wasn't doing Christianity, if I was doing a witches or a pagan or a warlock or a Buddhist type character or anything but Christianity, it would be acceptable. But because I'm going to be doing a Christian comic, we're going to see, and even Christians probably, it's hard to explain. Even Christians don't seem to want to try. Nobody's started a Christian comic. No Christians have started a Christian comic book that I know about, except stuff we already know. This is what happened in the Bible when you can just go read the Bible. But people will literally pay artists tons of money. I mean, I forget. There's actually a comic book series about the Bible, and it's like that's what instead of doing modern content, because Christians believe a lot of the modern day Christians, if you tell them you hear from God, they'll tell you it's stifle you in the church and give you a hard time until you leave. You could be a prophet from God. I'm just talking about the modern churches, the modern fake Christians, the modern fake Christianity, and the modern fake conservatives who are all super tolerant and don't take any actions to get done what they say needs to get done to fix the society. Like giving fathers default custody of kids of their own children out of wedlock, and making women pay child support to the state too. Like both people pay to the state if the parents split up, not just the father or the mother, and the father pays so everybody knows where the money's going. No, you just have to blindly give your support to the mother, and then she's out spending it on her hair. I talk to guys all the time, and I don't even know where my money goes. I talked to my kids a couple times. I was allowed to, and they seem like they're my child support. But I'm just saying, like, um, they're like, I'm like, do you have a video game system? No, our dad does though. And I grew up with kids that lived with step parents where the mother would spend all the welfare money on the father. I'd go over and the stepfather, the real father would be, oh, he's crazy and kicked out of the house and could never see his kids. And the kids would be ready. My friend was ready to stab his father. I used to walk home from him. He'd be like, no, my father's a psycho. My mother told me my father's a psycho. So every time I walk home, I have sharp pencils with me because if I see him, I'm gonna stab him. He was ready to stab his father. I was like, really? Whoa, whoa. Oh, that's crazy. That's scary. You know what I mean? I was like literally scared. Then later he found out that his mother was the psycho and his father was decent, and he had a relationship with his father, and he kicked his mother out of his life. He won't even talk to her, won't let her see her grandkids, anything. I'm just saying, because she lied to his house, and his stepdad would be showing me the new big stereo, the new big speakers, the new video game console. He'd be all the new PlayStation games that he would have, just on and on. I can go on about this for days, and that's why my channel's censored, and that's why I'm not. They're not like, hey, here's this new artist. Oh, look at this project he's working on. Yeah, go to his channel because I'm real Comicsgate, and the fake conservatives are basically liberals, and they can't stand to hear, like, when they hear me talk, they're like, man, he's hateful, man, you're angry. And I'm like, telling the truth is anger. Just telling the truth is angry. Yeah, no, it's not what you say. It's the big excuse. Oh, it's not what you say. It's how I say it. How am I saying it? I'm just saying it. I'm not, you see me saying it right now. Am I like, they'll just say, they won't even see me. I'll be in a chat room and I'll be like, yeah, oh, and they'll be like, oh, I'm just like, oh, but oh, well, you sound really angry. You need to relax. You need to get help. And I'm like, so they're so sociopathic and narcissistic and haughty that when they hear the truth, they're like, oh, you sound really angry. I'm sitting here laughing, and on the other side of the internet, and they're telling me I sound angry. And it's like, no, you just don't like the truth, and it makes you upset. So you have to kill the messenger when the truth is so bad that it makes you upset. So you got to tell me to settle down. You got to make it about me and then I'll be like, I just told you that there's a viral video of the police, arresting a man because he went to the school board. Or this is an example. Recently, I called to a talk show, a supposedly conservative talk show that praises the police. And they're like, oh, everyone's mad at the police for just doing their job. And I called in and I was like, first off, the Nazis' big excuse, that they Nazis were put to death, and their excuse was, I was just doing my job. I was just following orders. I was just doing my job, and they were put to death. And I'm like, and I called this guy and I was like, and also there's a viral video of a guy standing up at a school board meeting and saying, stop giving, and telling them I better pamphlets that show her how to give blowjobs, BJs. And he said it like 3 times. No, it has to stop. And what happened? The police came in and grabbed him in front of all the other parents and took him out, and nobody did anything about it because it sends a chilling effect. That's what the Nazis would do. They would haul you away in front of everybody, just take off with you, instead of arresting the school board for basically sexualizing a child who might have been prepubescent, making it pedophilia. They arrested the father for standing up to the school board, and it's on video. And the conservative talk, like, I didn't point out a video that everybody could go watch. He acted like it was my opinion and said, well, I don't know about all of that. and said, but the police are having their lives ruined, da, 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 da. And I said, the police have used violence to enforce all the unconstitutional laws that we all talk about and ruin millions of other people's lives. So maybe it's payback. And the host just went click. I was still talking, and then I was like, because there's a delay, and he just went thanks. He just went thanks for the call, Stuart, and he went, and that was it. And he went click, and hung up. Just like that. And then it was like next caller, because he says he's conservative, but he's fraudulent, and he might be a shill here to divide you. In other words, these comic skaters will talk only about the left, the people on the left. They won't talk about the government and the police that are enforcing it all, and all the leftist laws and all the unconstitutional, the millions and millions and books full of regulations and codes, and on and on and on. What I mean? They it's like they it's like as far as I can tell, these big comic skaters are here to divide you against. There might even be shills here, like planted by, they could be CIA, some of them, and set, like literally are globalists that are here. I don't know what they are. I can't. They're either unwitting, useful idiots, or they're here to divide. Or they're shills that are literally here to make you hate your fellow American, when all your fellow Americans are brainwashed by the public schools. On and on and on, and the government and the police enforce that. And if you try to take your kid out of the it used to be, I mean, now there's homeschooling, but it used to be, if you had a problem and didn't send your kid to school, the police would show up and kidnap them and make sure that they went to that satanic, godless hellhole school and got bullied and every other thing. And like, I'll hear these ads going, oh, never bring a weapon to school. It's like, really? If I was the principal, I would say, you better have a knife with you, because I can't be there to protect you. We all can't. So if you're in the bathroom or you're alone, you better be ready to stab someone. If three kids gang up on you, you better be ready to stab and run. It'll all be on camera. Don't worry about it. Just stab them, or do whatever you got to do. It better not come to school without a weapon. You should have a knife on you. That would be conservative. If the bullies put their hands on you because they don't like you, or some girl that they likes you or whatever, and they're gonna violate your rights and put your hands on you, then you better be ready to kill them. You better be ready to kill that person in self-defense, because messing around, fighting is, people can get hurt really badly and die fighting. You know what I mean? It's not. This isn't the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, where it's all plotted out. And so this isn't to send my kid to school with a knife. Oh, you sound crazy. You sound crazy. Really? I sound crazy. I have a radio now, because I have another. I have a radio in my car now, fix the radio, and now I got to hear on the station I listen to, if they're being bullied, fight back and kill them if necessary. It was never bring a weapon to school, and if somebody has a weapon, narc on them. Really? So if you're just, big jocks, I saw nerds get their faces just bang, just punched right in by big strong jocks. And I was just like, whoa, you know what I mean? And I saw people literally get the crap kicked out of them for no reason other than they were just a geek, and they weren't a bad person. They were just a geek. Maybe they taught, like, there's one kid that was always like, well, technically, he was like, well, technically, he was like the biggest nerd ever. And then, like, and people would they would just punch him right in the face, and his nose would be all bloody, and his glasses would be off, and he'd be on the floor, and they'd be like, everyone would be like, ha ha ha. And I was like, God damn, this place is a madhouse. So I started telling people, look, if you this, I started telling people in my high school, look, if you mess with me like that, I'm gonna come to school with a weapon and I'm gonna kill you. This really happened. I'm not lying. And then I got singled out. I fell from grace. I was popular. I was one of the popular kids. But then I started getting like I am now. I started pointing out all the and all the the hypocrisy in the school and like and started pointing out how bad everybody treated each other. And listen, are you okay, Clay? This is my dog, and I have him for a reason. It's not because I like dogs more than people. It's because he will kill you. If you come in my house and mess with me, my dog will kill you, and I'll stand there with my gun and make sure he kills you. Because when you raise your hand, I'll be like, pop, 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 pop. Oh, okay, you dead? Kick you a couple times. You dead? Yeah, okay, and I probably won't call the police. So I'll hope nobody heard anything, and I'll probably check because I don't trust the police either. And you'll just disappear. Come in my house, you're gonna disappear probably if the unless the police calls the police, and I probably still won't. I'll probably be like, no, no, nothing going on here. Yeah, okay, thanks, officer. Click. All right, let me see that arm. Chop, chop, chop. Get the plastic out. Get out the plastic wrap. No, but my point is um so I got to turn on my radio and hear if you're being yeah you're gonna never bring a weapon to school, and I'm like, oh, that's what I was getting into. So they I started getting singled out by groups. Hop in, enjoy the show. Look, it's beautiful outside. uh so anyway, this is exactly what happened. I'm not lying. I'm not going to tell you the exact details because I don't want anybody to be able to find out exactly. Bronson, go relax. We're going to eat breakfast. Don't worry. No, lay down and relax. Good boy. He's such a good boy. So, so basically, um, I used a ranged weapon. I'm not going to say what it is. It was an Asian kid, half Asian, and everybody kind of knew that I did something, but nobody saw it, so nobody can prove it. And I split that kid's melon from like 60 yards away. From like 60 yards away, I split that kid's melon, and blood everywhere. Blood. He was hanging out with some kids. I saw him, and I took aim, fired, got him, hit him right in the head, right in the noggin from six. It was an incredible shot. It was an incredible. I probably it was like it was God ordained. It was like a God. It was like God blessed me with accuracy with this weapon. I'm not going to say what weapon it was, and I hit this kid in the head at 60 yards, blood everywhere. And I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to give you details. The police did come, but nobody could prove anything, so nothing happened. I'm very lucky or blessed, and that it was like God purposely did this. And then after that happened, he went to the emergency room and everybody talked about it. And after that happened, nobody messed with me ever again. Nobody ever messed with me again after that. I split that kid's head right open, just blood everywhere, man. And I almost killed him. I almost killed the kid. I could have killed him. I mean, he didn't almost die, but if I wasn't in his temple, it hit him like up here in the harder part of the head, I probably would have killed him. And I was prepared. I was ready, whatever. You mess with me, you're probably gonna. If you mess with me, and if I don't get you, then I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna do, and whatever you did to me, I'm gonna do. I'm probably not gonna stop till you're not moving, and you're gonna be lucky if you wake up in the ICU. And that's how I run my show. And if anybody doesn't like it, well, then don't hang around with me. I don't even need friends. I have Jesus and I have the Lord God Almighty, so I don't need friends. But and I did. I lost all my friends, and I was very unpopular and I was a good kid. Didn't drink, didn't go to keggers, didn't do. I wasn't doing coke in the bathroom with all the bad kids. I wasn't having tons of I wasn't sexually deviant. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't going to keggers. I was a super good, super moral kid, and that school was trying to crush my spirit and destroy me. And they almost did destroy my life. I mean, they failed me, and I had to leave. I started telling the teachers to F off right to their faces. I would just be like, why don't you shut up? They'd be like, Stuart, da, 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 da. I'd be like, why don't you the teachers' faces? And they'd be like, and I'd be like, yeah, well, what you're saying, like, I don't really care about anything that comes out of your mouth, so you might as well just shut up. I would say that right to the teachers' faces, and they hated me. They hated me. And so, there's that. And I don't even care if I had a time machine. I said on social media, just one of the teachers, if I had a time machine, because the teacher was putting down boys, going, you boys got to be more like the girls. And I said, actually, you guys have feminized everything's revolves around girls now. And that's why boys don't want to be there, because it's boring out of the book. They want to be out in the world like a real man, like a man, and learn that way. And I said, and I have a good job now that I supposedly need a college degree for, but I don't have a college degree. They just gave me a chance, and I was very good at the job, so they kept me there. And that was my last job. I had it for 24 years in the medical field with no college degree, no education, no training, no certification, anything. I was working as a medical biller doing accounts receivable and medical billing for a family-run practice, because that's about the only people that would give someone like me a chance. And it was through nepotism that I got. Supposed to be temporary, but I was so good they kept me there for 24 years. So I said in so many words, you guys tried to ruin my life, and I have a job now, and said I wasn't good enough. And I said, now I have a job that requires a degree, and I don't have a degree. So everything you're saying is BS. And I told the teacher right on social media, if I had a time machine, I would get in it and go back there, and I would beat the living hell out of the teacher staff, out of the staff and the principal, whoever principal. I would beat them. I would beat the hell out of them and tell them to leave Stuart alone. You leave Stuart. I'm Stuart. You leave him. You pass him and leave him alone. I literally said that right on Facebook to one of the teachers at my old high school. A bunch of and all the kids I graduated with are all a bunch of losers now. They're all losers. All the ones that graduated, I'm the winner, and they're all losers. They're all drug addicts and drunks, and dying of overdoses, and I mean, just it's incredible. So my point is if I am the only. There are no other Comicsgate channels on here. This is, as far as I know, the only real Comicsgate channel. And as far as I know, this is the only real Comicsgate comic book. So if you support Comicsgate, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be an incredible storyline, and it's going to be awesome characters. I am going to have women, and I'm not going to make the women, I'm not going to be, I'm going to be realistic, but entertaining at the same time. Wait till you see how he treats women. This guy right here. Wait till you see how he treats bad women. There's a couple of pages where he smacks a woman right in her face, and then all these guys get mad, and then he beats the hell out of every guy there. Beats, like, one of them gets paralyzed. He beats one guy. He kills one guy, breaks his neck, and paralyzes the guy from the breakdown, from the neck down, and walks away. And leaves a pile of beat up people and dead people at a campsite out in the woods, because he's hiding from the police, and he tries to go to this encampment, and it turns out to be a bunch of degenerate criminals that are camping out in the woods doing drugs and stuff. And he's just like, oh boy. And then they turn on him. And then this woman talks trash to him. And he's just like, oh, really? Smack. And he just smacks her right in the face. And then there's got her boyfriend's like, hey, what's going on? And then he just throws a hammer and sticks the spike under the hammer right in the guy's forehead. And the dude falls over. And then other guy's like, hey, you didn't have to do that. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he just throws the guy like hands upside down on his head and his neck snaps and he's laying there in the bushes like, oh, with bugs all over him, biting him. And that's what this guy does to white knights and degenerate women. So I'm just saying, this is the only real Comicsgate book out there. Okay. Nope. Nope. EVS. Nope. Not Comicsgate. Umbrella Guy. Nope. Not Comicsgate. Nope. None of them are Comicsgate. They say they're Comicsgate, but they're not. I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm just pointing out the truth. They are not Comicsgate. I'm not saying that they have bad intentions. I'm saying they're just misguided, but they don't know how. Maybe they didn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their issue is. And I like their art and I've supported some of them. I'm just saying they're not real conservative, and their comics books. What's politically incorrect about their comic books? Somebody tell me in the comments below what's politically incorrect about their comic books. Show me one thing that's, if they're, you know what I mean? I don't see anything. They're like, they say they're like, we're going to be politically incorrect and we're going to do whatever we want. Okay, show me what's politically incorrect about your comic book and show me what's politically incorrect. The fact that you make fun of the left, but you won't talk about the government and the police that enforce everything, that are enforcing all these leftist laws and all this political, hate speech and all this stuff. So anyway, I just want to say, you think you're Comicsgate, but you're not. So it's a beautiful day outside, and I just cooked breakfast, and me and my dog have to eat. This is a half hour long. I'm pretty sure I got my point across. I'm gonna keep coming on here with my titles are gonna be like, I'm the only real Comicsgate, and like this one, you think you're Comicsgate, but you're not. This is the only real Comicsgate channel that I know of. If you know of another person as politically incorrect as I am, and you can see I only have one viewer right now. I mean, right now I only have one viewer. And actual Comicsgate channel that is actually going against the taking the path less traveled by and going against the grain, and you know what I mean, and actually doing something and putting out a product that is actually what it says it is. Comicsgate, politically incorrect. And no, I'm not going to let people come on my show if I ever do get thousands of subs and show half naked pictures of women and talk about how much and I'm not going to talk about how much I love this degenerate lifestyle and that, and I'm not going to support people and let them on my show that live degenerate lifestyles. You know what I mean? I'm going to help other people that are actual real conservatives that want to not mislead people, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. I'm not saying all these channels are doing it intentionally. You have to look up the word shill and controlled opposition and COINTELPRO. Get educated. Don't just, oh, you say, oh, you say, oh, you say you're this, but your actions don't show it, but you say you are, and you got 100,000 subs and you make a lot of money, so you must be, you know what I mean, or something. I don't know exactly, you know, why people allow themselves to be misled, but you got to be glad that we're having COVID. That's how conservative I am. I'm so dead against all the degenerate lifestyles that the public schools for brainwash and force on our children to to uh, to be exposed to, that I'm glad the public schools are closed down, and I'm glad, and all the people that have made my life hard and threatened me and spread lies about me that I'm angry and I hate women. Now their lives are all being ruined because they can't find a job, and I'm happy. I'm happy watching them struggle. They're like, "Oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do," and and I don't know what's gonna happen. And I'm like, "Oh, oh, that's how I came to you." And I was like, "I don't know where my children are, and I pay support and don't see them, and nobody cares." And you were just like, "Oh, well, didn't the court say that you, or didn't you, you're, well, don't you hate women?" And you know what I mean? And I'm like, "I hate women. What the heck are you talking about? I'm telling you that I can't see my kids, and I pay support, and the police will kick my head in if I go see them without a court order. And you're telling me I hate women?" It's like, what does that got to do with anything? You know what I mean? It's like, so now I'm taking pleasure in seeing all you people struggle. Rather live in a, I would rather live in the middle of a war zone than a completely immoral country that sexualizes children, and that taxes us all out of existence, and has police that are ready to beat your head in if you get out of, if you get uppity and try to actually do anything to change, to take the steps to change, to make the changes that need to be made to save the country. And as far as I'm concerned, America's gone anyway. And the like the fathers, if the alienation from fathers in this country on the scale that it happens doesn't end, you can fix everything else. If you don't fix that, then the country's doomed. It should be the biggest issue on the table, and it's no, and I'm the only, name one Comicsgate channel that's talking about it. So you think you're Comicsgate, but you're not. That's that's the word for today. This is Kingdom Comics. Until next time.